Lads and ladies, today it happened. We got the announcement for the mount that we had been anticipating for a long time, that had been talked about, 6 months ago? A mount that we didn't expect to come. Turns out, it's for World vs. World. Hey, who would have known? And it's called the Warclaw. There's a great little site. There we go. Our little blog post on the official ArenaNet site that says "Tame the Warclaw." We'll watch this entire thing in just a second. Look at it's a beastly cat. All right, it's basically. I'll say it how it is. It's basically just an enslaved, overgrown, mutated char that we've grown and that we're now riding into war. All right. The cat's out of the bag. Something big is coming to World vs. World next week. It's next week. It's already next week. Next Tuesday. On February 26th, befriend the Warclaw, a new mount available exclusively through World vs. World. It's the only mount that can carry you into battle in the Mist War, where its skill truly shine, which means we're not going to get access to any of the other mounts. It's just this. So, I've talked about this before. The potential for us getting a mount in World vs. World, or getting access to mounts in World vs. World, would kind of hang in the, like, it would be a tricky thing. Let's just say it like that, because they'd have to make it a World vs. World exclusive thing, because all of the existing mounts risk just completely destroying the balance, like out of proportion destroying the balance and the flow of the map. It's World vs. World exclusive. I will remain reserved. They're introducing this on Tuesday, the 26th. To get you into the saddle quickly, you'll earn double World XP when playing in World vs. World from February 26th to March 5th. And there's gonna be a wow meow live stream this Friday. So be sure to tune into that, because there's going to be a lot of questions. We're going to go over the details that we know right now. But there's going to be a lot of questions. There already is a lot of questions about how this will work in World vs. World, or just like in PvP scenarios in any form. With that said, yes, all right, the last one. It's going to be a double World XP, which means it's likely going to be, you befriend this mount, you get access to the mount through the point system, the rank system, which gives you points to upgrade whatever. Just like the gliding, it took like 60 or something, 50 or 60 ranks to get gliding, and for every skill that you level up there, the mount is probably going to be able to do something else or something new, just like you can dodge on the glider. And we kind of have an insight, but let's get into it first. Let's get into it. Let's go to the trailer right now. It isn't looking too hot right now, guys. There's like almost a 50-50 split between who likes it and who doesn't like this. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, let's watch this. Just a quick little trailer there. Just a quick little trailer. Now, I'll say at the very start here, like, having a cat or getting a cat is not really an aesthetic necessity in this game. Like, it's not really an aesthetically exclusive thing. It really isn't. Like, it moves very much like, or seemingly it moves very much like the nice, let me kill that. Like a combination of the jackal and the griffin. And that's basically it. Like it doesn't really, it's not a niche looking thing, except for the armor. The armor is absolutely amazing. Can I just say, this is what I wanted from the very start when mounts were announced. This is what I wanted mount skins to be, armored mounts. Turns out it wasn't. It was just shiny bullshit for the most part. And here we're actually getting like an ironclad mount. Like, no joke. Like, have you seen the outfit? This is basically it. This is an ironclad beast. Actually, here, okay, wait, let me make a joke here. This is basically extra images extra images of the Warclaw. Right here. Chars in ironclad armor. This is basically the pet, or the mount. Which I like. It's very thematic. It's very on point. It fits the World vs. World thematic in a lot of ways. I don't really mind that it's not really all that niche breaking. Like it's not underwater. It doesn't allow us to climb walls. It doesn't like have necessarily anything specifically exclusive in that sense. It does have skills that are exclusive, and that's another thing. Let's get around to that later or in a second. But it looks amazing. Kill the sound. Jesus Christ, why do you keep going? Let me just turn down the speed. We're likely... There we go. These mounts take a fuck ton of time for the developers to make. The fact that they're actually putting a mount into this game mode tells me one or two things. Either one, they really want a way to monetize World vs. World to have an argument for further development. Does that make sense? Mounts being introduced to this game mode basically means that suddenly World vs. World is monetizable. Suddenly, World vs. Worlders will have an interest in buying mount skins for this particular Warclaw. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't actually care too much either way. Like, cool, make that dough for real. But like, here's why I'm hyped about mount skins for this one. It's because for the first time, there's actually a chance that we might have an argument for a legendary mount skin to be implemented. A Warbringer mount skin for the Warclaw. How fucking cool would that be? Alright, how fucking cool would that be? Look at that leap. Look at that leap. This is what most people are afraid of. We'll return to this subject in a second, but this is what most people will be afraid of when thinking about balance, is this kind of leap. Hurrah. It hits. Alright, let's, before we go on, here's the leaked images of the Warclaw. No, I'm just kidding. Right, MMO Games came out with a bit of an article. It's like a they didn't really get much more information. They got a little bit of details, but I'll read it aloud here for everyone to take part in. Guild Wars 2 World vs. World mount the Warclaw announced. World vs. World players know all too well that content for the least popular game mode is rare. Now this seems a bit jaded. Now I'm not gonna lie that he might be onto something, but it does seem a little bit jaded there. So when it does happen, it's something really exciting. That's why we're so excited that there's a Guild Wars 2 World vs. World mount coming out. This mount won't just get you around the battlefield quickly, though there is that benefit. That's why we're so excited. I love this. In hindsight, I love this. The Warclaw comes with 3 special abilities. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I'm not really going to comment on the rest of it. 3 special abilities that will enhance your World vs. World gameplay. The first is Battle Maul. It's basically your... as far as well, let me read on. When you jump into battle while mounted, your Warclaw will maul your enemy before it disappears. This is your standard attack and dismount skill. Yeah, this is the one that most people will fear the interaction of, because mounts actually deal in PvE. Mounts actually deal quite a lot of damage. I'll show you in a bit, because there's actually a way to show you how hard they hit, but it isn't actually all that bad. And with a bit of fine-tuning, which I believe is heavily requested for something like this, something like a World vs. World PvP-esque mount, we really need this skill more than anything, the Battle Maul, to be balanced. It needs to basically hit like a wet noodle, or do something entirely different. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of it dealing no damage, but applying 5 stacks of Vuln. Wouldn't be opposed to it. Because I feel like that's a lot more... Getting the Battle Maul off on an enemy that doesn't dodge shouldn't punish them in the sense that it's going to take away 1/3 of their health. No, it should just give them a bleed stack or something like that. Vuln. This is your standard dismount skill. Yeah, so in PvE we now have 3 skills actually. We've gotten utility skills for mounts through the mastery system. It sounds like this is going to be more like this mount is going to have skills, just normal weapon skills, like on the left side of the bar. Who knows though. The second ability is chain pull. This one's pretty interesting to me, not gonna lie. And from a World vs. Worlder standpoint, possibly the most exciting of the 3 abilities. Those on Warclaws will be able to pull down gates to gain entrance to whatever structure the Zerg is currently focused on. This is an advanced ability, which almost certainly means that it will have to be unlocked. As of writing this pre-embargo, we don't yet have the information. Here's the thing you gotta understand. In balance-wise, let's just take it from that perspective. This is not actually going to be as crazily... Well, damage-wise, it might be as crazy as regular Siege. But do you know how easy it is to take down a mount? Mounts have so tiny health pools. It's not a golem. You're not riding a golem. You will get dismounted and your moving Siege won't be protected. You won't be protected unless you still build your shield generators, all that jazz. Mounts will be extremely easy to demount, or players will be extremely easy to demount and just take that massive pressure away. Say I'm imagining a scenario in which, say, 10, 20 people rush up to a gate. They use this chain pull on the gate. They try to pull it down. They get it. Let's say it's kind of tuned lower than a what's it called, a battle ram, or like a ram. It's gonna take about 15-20% down before a single arrow cart will dismount everyone. This is gonna put a lot more focus on defense, like rapid defense. Having someone in the actual keep or tower to keep these players just dismounted, keep them away. Everyone seems to be putting a lot of emphasis on this being, well, crazy. And it is. Like, on paper, this seems crazy. Like, having a super fast, super fast moving Siege it's insane. I wonder how this is going to be used otherwise. Like, chain pull, is it going to say, when you press the button, is it going to say, hey, this needs to be a structure. You can't target this. This is not a structure. Or can you actually use this on players as well? Or in the open world, because this mount is apparently also usable in PvE. Are you going to be able to use this on, say, open world bosses? Will it be massive CC? What's it actually going to do? I'm very excited about the possibilities of this. And the thing is, like, chain pull, as long as it's balanced below, like, damage-wise, below what a ram does, we should be pretty good. We should be pretty fine. It needs to be at least half of that, in my opinion. At least half of a ram. Maybe even much, much lower, like 1/10. Because you are kind of... It's basically to get a burst on the door. Is like the entire Zerg runs up to the door, just gets a burst off of the door, gets it down quicker, and if there's an arrow card in there, everyone dismounts and you have to build siege. That's basically the thing, I guess. The final ability is Evade, which we have on every mount. Currently, there's a mastery associated with the Jackal mount that on Evade gives you Evade. Haha. Or when you use a skill, that is, actually. It's not on Evade. When you use the mount skill, it gives you Evade as well. So it's basically Evade for Evade. It makes sense. You know what I mean. This is basically an ability. They're turning this into an ability, which makes me believe right off the bat that none of the masteries in PvE will be applicable to this particular mount. We won't get the Bond of Faith. We won't get the Bond of Life or the Bond of Vigor. None of that. I don't believe any of that will come to it. It may be later, but I think all of these three are going to be equivalent to like weapon skills. So we've got a 1, 2, and 3 skill instead of a whatever your buttons are for your utility skills on the other mounts. Oh, sorry. Anyways, the final ability is Evade. Get a quick burst of speed and evade attacks, allowing you to break through enemy lines. This will be especially useful in castle sieges, where getting a team through the hall quickly to attack from behind will add a very interesting new element to the event. How many of you guys have ever sat in SMC with a commander trying their very, very best to push through this bottleneck into the inner chamber of SMC? How many of you guys have just sat there for ages and ages not being able to push through because holy shit, will nobody just allow you through? Nothing will allow you through. Everyone's bombing this bottleneck. This is going to change that. This is going to change. This skill is going to be able to change that. It's going to allow groups or circs of people to instantaneously reposition themselves. It's going to be there's going to be a lot less portal plays because we have the mount, but you have to probably be out of combat. I don't know how you actually mount this. Maybe you like 5 supply to mount it. I don't know. Who knows? But the repositioning, I mean, this is super exciting to me. It really is. It sounds extremely dangerous. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds like an extremely dangerous precedent to set for the combat, but to me, this sounds mega exciting. Holy shit! Like, there's nothing worse, in my opinion, than those battles where you're just kind of at a stalemate. The mount will be able to kind of change that. You can even, I think, for what I'm hopeful will happen, I'll say it like that, is that when you're in combat, obviously you can't mount up. So what you'll have is you'll have small parties in the squad, or small squads, basically being Havoc squads. We're back to having Havoc squads that can basically run in, disrupt really easily, get into the crowd, and lay their lives down so that the main Circ, who's all in combat, can push in. But yeah, the Warclaw will be available on February 26th for anyone who owns Path of Fire, so you gotta own Path of Fire. While we may have to wait a week before we can play with it, we can see it now in this fantastic trailer, and we've already seen it. Path of Fire basically enables a control setting. When you own Path of Fire, it enables a control setting in your settings that's otherwise not there. If you've ever been on a free-to-play account, you don't have these settings, even if you borrow a beetle in the open world. So there's that. Anyways, he continues, as someone who is a longtime fan of World vs. World, I'm especially intrigued to see what kind of impact Warclaw will have on World vs. World. Though I suspect that having the mount will become a requirement for taking part in the game. I don't believe so necessarily, but it will be a requirement for taking part in some of the game. This has the potential to leave some people behind who haven't bought Path of Fire and have no plans to do so. Expect World vs. World queues to come back, blah 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 blah, all this. If you're interested in the Warclaw, it can only be obtained in World vs. World, but it can be summoned anywhere other mounts can be summoned. That means you'll be able to use it in open world. However, the chain pull ability is something that has very limited use in the main PvE part of the world. So while it will be fun for getting around with it, around with it may not have much. It may not have. Okay, there's an it, I guess, and a comma missing. Never mind. It may not have much utility. Still, how many char are we going to see running around riding on war kitties? And then we got a random picture of him. I guess that the dude. All right, let's look at the skills here real quick. So if we go back here to the actual trailer, let's look at some of the skills real quick. We've got the very lively animation of a cat that wakes up. I don't know. Mounts are just. I mean, there's some of the most detailed things in this entire game. I appreciate how much effort they actually put into the animations of it. So I'll say it. All right, I'll say it. Let's fast forward a bit. All right. All right. We've got regular running. It's not really. I feel like I should just skip. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here's the chain pull. All right, here's the chain pull. That's the one that everyone kind of fears. All right, pause. Thank you. You basically link yourself to the door and you pull. So I guess it's like a flip over skill of some kind, or I don't know, but you're kind of going to be locked in place. You're not going to be moving around unless this is like, if you can move all around and just basically avoid all the arrow carts. That's going to be something, isn't it? But yeah, you pull, it takes a little bit of damage, probably. You're still tethered. Notice this. So it's like, imagine, this is what I'm imagining. Imagine a guardian spear. You tether yourself to the door, you throw your spear at the chain, in this case, at the door, and then you pull. But this just kind of, the kitty has to kind of assume a battle stance, like, put its claws in, get some, leverage. Yeah, and do the quickie pull. Let's see that again. Yeah. I hope, not gonna lie, I hope they won't be able to move. While that is a thing. All right, here we got the battle Maul. I guess. All right, he jumps in. This is kind of an odd thing, right? Because right here at the start, we actually see, it's kind of hard to see and it's not really well told, but this is actually the other evade skill. We'll see it better in just a second, but this is actually the evade skill. You can see the evade frames in the back. It's kind of like the, or not the evade frames. You can see the evade like dust or whatnot. It's kind of like you see on Revenants and Thieves whenever they dodge. You get this kind of cloud around them. It bounces forward, looks cool. And we get the Maul. Here we go. So it's basically just a pounce. That's all it really is. It looks extremely dangerous, not gonna lie. The big claw animations and all that, you don't really get that on any of the other mounts. Like with the Raptor, you just kind of, you jump in and you rotate a little bit. Like here, you get this big old cat jumping at you, armored cat, eating your face. But yeah, as I said, I wouldn't actually be opposed to this dealing no damage, but just conditions. There are some ways. That's kind of the thing. This mount attack will be extremely, what's it called? Adjustable. Let's use that word because I'm forgetting the right word. Mount skills ever since Path of Fire came out, mount engage skills have been kind of customizable. That was the word I was looking for. In the sense that there are runes and food that you can take that it impacts your character on dismount. So let's take something like the Superior Rune of the Cavalier. Power, toughness, mains, but the 6th ability is using an engage ability, grants quickness and 20% damage. Holy shit, that is a lot for 5 seconds on a 20-second cooldown. That's what you call a Havoc squad right there. 20% damage, but you're kind of power toughness. Basically like the old soldiers meta, but with quickness and a whole lot of damage. And that's not even it, because we've got the quickness here, 5 seconds of quickness. If you run the nourishment, called a cup of light roasted coffee, which is basically handed out for free in World vs. World. You gain an extra 5 seconds of quickness on dismount on a 20-second cooldown as well. This also gives precision. So this is actually not a bad option. The coffee here, that is a pitcher. Here we go. The pitcher, that's the one that usually gets dropped all over the place. Because you can get them for free in the desert crafting material. I technically have about 1,000 of these just lying around. Yeah, and it's basically the same. It's a feast of coffee. So there's ways to customize that engage, which is which is one of the reasons why a lot of people are quite fearful of this one. All right, the last one, it hits. All right, the door opens. Boom. Well, okay, it opens there. And in comes this guy. Come on. Stand up. Right, you good. And there we go. He basically turns himself, or she, the cat, basically turns itself into a ram. A battering ram. Funnily enough, this is not the engage skill. I mean, the other one looks like a lion, as it was pointed out here. It looks like a lion, which makes a lot more sense, but this is a battering ram. I'm quite surprised that this doesn't just... I mean, it looks like it's gonna knock down everyone, right? It looks like it just knocked down an entire Zerg with a giant-ass fucking monster of a cat. Mutated Char. But seemingly, as is said here, it's an evade. The ability is an evade. It's a quick 1 second evade. The what's it called? The animation is basically just a 1 second evade. The real question is, how will it linger? Will it continue? What happens? Like, how interactable is this? What's the cooldown on this? How horrible is this actually? Because evades can be horrible. It's one of the reasons why so many people are complaining about Mirage, is because evades you can't do anything about. You can't shoot through them. You can't just cancel them. You can't do anything about them. You're basically just stuck with it. So this is gonna be, it's basically like a battering ram going through an enemy Zerg with a 1 second dash. Much like you see with the, I mean, at least that's what it kind of resembles to me. The Jackal evade skill. I don't presume that this kitty is gonna have three evades. I think it's gonna have the standard 2. I'm quite curious what that will actually do. Like the actual evade skill, the endurance, what that will actually do. Is that going to be the second skill, like the evade skill, and then you're just gonna have the chain pull and the maul technically being skills? Because that would be way too overpowered. But yeah, effectively all mounts have an extra ability, which is their, well, dodge, their evade. But yeah, it kind of, let's see that again. See, it goes, he jumps and just like charges through. It's quite a long range. How much is this? Let's assume he ends like right there at the end of the camera. I'd say that's a 900 to 1,000 range leap with an evade. That's quite a hefty jump there. That's a one or 1.5 second thing. Tame the Warclaw. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, that's basically it. That's the mount, more or less. A lot of people are very fearful of what this can do. I, as a roamer, I am very excited for this. I like extremely excited about this. Being able to run around actually doing stuff with my mount, being extremely fast at capping points, being extremely fast at getting back to my Zerg, all that jazz in whatever capacity. It's all just going to boil down to how this is balanced. Because I, for one, actually believe that ArenaNet can balance this properly. There's obviously going to be a period of us having to get used to this, because it's kind of an upset to everything. Everything that we're used to. We're very used to the ground-based, slow-moving Zerg that is very predictable at this point. And then you throw kind of a wrench into this. I, for one, welcome this wrench because I feel a lot of World vs. World, like, okay, one of my main arguments is probably going to be on the phase of, or in favor, that is, of the new player experience. I don't personally believe World vs. World is enticing for new players in any capacity. I don't think World vs. World really does anything for new players that aren't geared, that don't really Zerg, don't really know what they're doing. And I don't think a lot of people in the community really does think that is the way forward. A lot of people in the community don't really even like it right now, and they're not new. They're veterans as well. I think this is a good way to give people an incentive, or new people an incentive, to overcome that barrier of having to walk everywhere. A lot of people find that to be just kind of iffy. And I see a positive there. I don't necessarily think that that's going to be the end-all be-all or the best thing that will ever happen to World vs. World, but I don't think this is going to be the worst thing that ever happened to World vs. World either. I think this is going to be a change of pace. And it's a change of pace that I very much welcome. I think, personally, that World vs. World is just, it's a lot of stagnant fights, fighting around a tower or a keep for hours and hours with little to no reward at the end. Like, there's little to no reason to cap a tier 3 tower except for the glory of having done it. Giving Zergs, giving players much more movability options will shake that up a bit. It will give, well, it will put pressure on all sides, both from defending and attacking. It's just going to be much more fast-paced, and it's something that I personally will really thumb up. I hope we get it in the Edge of the Mist as well. Definitely. But yeah, that's the Warclaw. More or less 3 abilities. February 26th. That is next Tuesday. And on Friday, we're gonna see some more information on what it actually does. If I can say anything, because I know there's a lot of arguments happening right now, or discussion. Let's just put it like that, about this Warclaw and the implementation of mounts into World vs. World. Try it out. That's just my 2 cents. Try it out, and if you don't like it, then you can hate it. That's cool. But try it out at least. I'm going to remain very positive about this implementation, about the potential for this implementation. But who knows? Who knows? It could be anything. Could be anything. Anyways, I want to show you something here at the very end of this little segment. That's not what I wanted to show. But for that, I need a helping hand. For that, I need a bit of a helping hand. All right, here we go. Let me show you something cool in terms of mount interactions. All right, in a PvP scenario. This is currently the only place in the game where you can actually, well, fight another player with a mount. So let me show that off in a second. Let me show you how powerful mounts are already, and how, well, then let's talk about how the Warclaw might be, what's it called? Balanced. I feel like it's on the wrong speaker. There we go. There we go. All right, perfect. All right. All right. Let me get rid of these 2 lads real quick. All right. I need you in here real quick. Just stand still. All right. Perfect. So this is actually double perfect. We have a mounted player. All right. Mounted players only have very little health. Usually the mount is extremely squishy. Look at this. Comparatively, we have, like, compared to the lowest armor class, which is, or lowest health pool class of heavy, Guardian, it's lower than that. Every single one of them are lower than 10k health. It's more like 6k every single time. Do you know how easy it is to dismount the player? Hey. It's like three hits. All right, let me get out here real quick. It's like 3 hits to easily take down a mounted player. Wait, hold up. All right, now let me show you another thing. If you have a mount, it's gonna hit hard. All right, it's gonna hit pretty hard. Let me show you. It's just here. Oh no, no, don't attack. No, wait. Combat incoming. All right. Wait, just stand still. No attacks. There we go. Easy. All right. Mount engage skills can be very, very ouchy. All right. Let's see the Raptor engage. Well, combat out. There we go. The tail swipe hits for 4,552. Let me get out here. This one, the Springer Cannonball, doink, 4,714. Now these are some of the weaker ones. Let me be real. All right, this one I kind of have to hit. All right, there we go. Doink, 3,007. Basically nothing. Practically nothing. All right, let's get the next one. Doink. We got lots of barrier. But we also have a hit of 3,000. Last one. This is the most powerful one. The swoop on the Griffin it hits hard. Doink. 4,729. All right, it's basically the same as the tail swoop. The only difference here, sorry, I didn't mean to completely slay you there. I wanted to take out the, my bad. And the beetle is the harder one. Basically, we just need the pounce of the what's it called? The Warclaw to be below 2k, I'd say. Below 2k, it's not really gonna do much. Like I said though, all right, what we got? The rollout, 2,000. Look at that. Look at that weak attack. Mount skills, engages are extremely powerful. All right, they're extremely powerful. But it's nothing that can't be alleviated otherwise. I would definitely venture to say that if we just make the Warclaw do maximum of like 1k damage, right? And I'd advocate doing 0 damage and then just like 5 vuln. Then we've got a fine engage skill right there. See, we've got weakness on the beetle. We've got pure damage on the what's it called? The Griffin. We've got cripple and blind for this jackal boy. We've got heals. Look at that. Revive percentage and healing. And knockdown. And we've just got a damage as well as a pull. Each of them have a gimmick. And the pounce, or the battle maul, looks pretty simplistic. If you're gonna, like, it's not gonna pull. It's not gonna do anything crazy. It's just gonna either do damage or just apply a few conditions. Right, that was all I really wanted to show in there. DBZ, thank you so much for helping. Super appreciated. Super appreciated help. My mount damage is currently being increased by my mastery. Exactly. You actually strike a really good point there, mate. There are quite a few of these, like all of these. Here we go. The last of each line of every mount except for the roller beetle impact all of the other mounts. This, I guarantee you, all of these will not impact the world versus world abilities. I guarantee you. So we're not going to have all mounts now receive bonus from Ravenous Strike, increasing their engage skill. That's basically this. Deals greatly increased damage to foes. It's not going to have Masterful Descent. It's going to fucking hit the ground running if you jump off a cliff. It's not going to get the Nimble Benevolence or recovery here. Getting knocked off your mount or engaging foes will grant swiftness and protection. Look at that. That's crazy, isn't it? Jackal Mount. It's basically just evade for everyone. Every mount starts evading. The Royal Beetle gives nothing. And the Griffin gives nothing. So there's that. And it's not going to have any of these. And do you know why I believe so thoroughly in this? It's because of the already established system that we have with Well vs. World and the Glider. The Glider took no, here we go, gliding. None of these masteries had any impact on the gliding mastery here. Or can we even call it mastery? I don't know. War gliding mastery. We can call it mastery, never mind. Because it had individual things. The first tier, which is only 3. And I guarantee you, this is going to be probably the same with the mount. It's going to be like 3 or whatever, 6, who knows, rank points to unlock the mount. And then you're going to unlock the abilities as you go. So the higher up, if you want to completely max it out, obviously it's going to be a lot of rank points. So for gliding, we have 3, you're allowed to glide in territories your world owns. 10, you can now slow down in midair. That's like lean techniques. Like all of these were just kind of repurposed, or not all of this, some of them. 20, you can now lean forward, increasing gliding speed. 35, you can now evade while gliding. You can't even stealth. Let me remind you, we don't have stealth gliding in Will vs. World because it's too crazy. Learn to glide with such efficiency that you no longer use... Wow, there we go. Use endurance except when leaning forward. Mighty Teapot, thank you so much for that big ol' raid. Welcome to this mount discussion, everyone. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. How you guys doing? Are you all in a horrible mood? Anyways, as I was saying, I guarantee you that it's going to be the mount is going to be very accessible, but the higher skills might be a little bit more requiring. But I think just in general, it's going to be, I mean, it's just going to boil down to balance. As long as it's balanced properly, I think it only has potential for a lot of positive to come into the scene. Thank you guys for all the follows. Welcome to the stream. Mount up for the stream. If I could, I would, but there is no mounts here. There are no mounts allowed in Will vs. World yet.